The total figures in Nigeria on the COVID-19 cases stands at 4,151. So far, 745 people have been discharged and 128 deaths recorded. Tonight, we shall be speaking with one of the governors of the northern states of Nigeria, where COVID-19 is not only a worry, Almajiri system of life is another. In fact, banditry is posing yet a bigger challenge in that state. Governor Aminu Masari, the Katsina state governor, joins us on the program. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program. Let's begin by looking at the issues of lockdown and compliance. Do you have a similar problem in Katsina of people not complying with the guidelines?
Well, we started this clampdown from interstate for a very long time, even before the federal government started. We started in northwestern state governments. However, the lockdown came to Katsina through an indexed person from Daura, and currently we have about 30 local governments under total lockdown. And we are getting between 70 to 80% compliance. But being the nature, tradition, and culture of the people living in places which are very difficult to access, so you find in some communities compliance is very, very low due to ignorance and the lack of understanding. Despite the constant mobilization, information given, and so many things, but still we are satisfied so far with the level of compliance, especially considering the local setup of our people. Certainly the lockdown is working. We so far have recorded many cases. Some have been tested, some are still waiting results from the NCDC.
So, so far, Governor Masari, how many people have you been able to test in your state?
Well, we have sent 1,160 samples as at yesterday, and we have got a result of 585. And out of the 585, we have 156 positive cases, and we are waiting result of 575. We have so far discharged 16 has been discharged from the isolation centers. 11 have died, even though some of the 11 were confirmed positive after their death in their respective houses when we took samples. But from the isolation centers, we recorded 4 deaths so far. This is the way it is now in Katsina.
So what is the capacity of the beds of the isolation center that you have in Katsina state?
Well, actually, we have 6 isolation centers, which we have earmarked. We have our own general hospital, which has 30 beds. We have the Federal Medical Center that have also 12 beds. We have 15 in Daura. We have 160. Out of them, 100 are ready for occupation now. And we also have identified a place which have started work to produce 160. I think in total we will be producing, we have active beds of 527. That's our plan. And in fact, we have gone more than 50% of what we are planning. And again, we have identified the Nigerian Civil Defense Center as a holding center, which has a capacity of 206. What we intend to do that in most places where some test positive or those who are highly suspected, will bring them to this isolation center pending this holding center, pending the outcome of the test, because some cases really we need to hold the people, otherwise people will run away. Immediately take sample of some people, they will change the address, they will leave town. So when the results are out, even if they are positive, they become very difficult to locate. So all in all, we are targeting about 733 places where we can hold people who have tested positive.
Governor Masari, you having been a speaker before of the Federal House of Representatives, you know a lot about grassroots politics, and you have some connection with the grassroots people. But there are reports of lack of education about the COVID-19 in some rural areas in Katsina State. That is a major problem, isn't it?
No, actually, it is a fact that it's not lack of information. It is believing the information. Because some due to ignorance, some due to misguidance by the religious leaders. It's not about that there's no information about the COVID-19. The issue is believing the information. Because the information of COVID-19 is everywhere in the air, among in the mosques, churches, and all gathering places. The most important thing is people to accept and believe that COVID-19 is real and it exists. That's the problem. It's not the awareness. The awareness of its existence, people are aware of its existence, but to believe. Some are, like I said earlier, being misguided by some religious leaders, some by people who naturally do not believe in anything, but not that there is a lack of information.
Because one of the issues, again, coming from Katsina State is the fact that increasingly health workers are in the arm's way. About 14 or so were had COVID-19. One doctor was also said to have died, and his family members had COVID-19 in Katsina State. What are the protective measures that you are giving, the cover that you're giving for health workers who are in the front line in Katsina State?
Well, let's start with the doctor who died. The doctor who died was the index person in Katsina State who came back from a conference in Lagos. He was diagnosed with the disease after his death. So it's not that he died in a facility. Now, with regards to doctors that contracted the diseases, especially at a Federal Medical Center and in one of the private hospitals in Katsina, what happened was these were normal doctors and nurses working under normal conditions, dealing with normal patients who came to the clinic or hospital with normal complaint. Later on, those complaints, maybe probably some of them were positive. And so they contracted the disease from them. But nobody contracted the disease from our isolation center so far. We have zero positive case of any health worker working at in any of our isolation centers. That we try to really keep them well. And we are also working towards massive production of this mask and hand gloves across the state for all health workers, because the problem is a health worker in a rural hospital, somebody comes with stomach ache or somebody with malaria, he treats them and knows that the man might have been COVID-19 positive. So these are some of the precautionary measures which other medical staff, not only those dealing with the isolated patient, but also all medical staff, because normal clinical services are going on. So within the normal clinical services, they treat patients who are known to them may be positive. So we are taking measures to make sure that our workers in health facilities are provided with the minimum of face mask and hand gloves so that they protect themselves.
Governor, I will come yet to some issues relating, allied issues relating to COVID-19. But let's come to an issue that is perhaps of a worry to the northern leaders and northern governors. We understand that northern governors have resolved to eradicate the Almajiri system of life, especially for children in the northern region of the country. As it stands right now, How worried are you about the Almajiri system of government? Because recently we understand that a truckload of Almajiri children headed for Lagos was intercepted.
Well, for us in the state, we so far have received over 900 Almajiris from Kano, from Gombe, from Nasarawa states. And we have established a camp where we camp them, observe them for some days, and if we find that they're physically fit, nothing wrong with them, we now take them right to their parents' houses. But at the state level, we have formed a committee of the religious leaders, the traditional rulers, the security agencies, and the government. We are now taking census of all Almajiris that are not Katsina state indigenes, and so that we know how many of them are here in Katsina. And we then decide what to do. Do we have the capacity to hold them in various places, or do we return them to their parents? Because I do believe that we have a responsibility to all Nigerians. It's not about shipping people from one city to another city. They are all Nigerians, and the problem is a Nigerian problem. So we in Katsina, we may likely have a different approach in terms of how we treat Almajiris that are not of Katsina state origin. We are finding a way of how to treat them. And when all this COVID-19 is over, we already have in place a mechanism and institution that will integrate this Almajiri school system into the normal schooling system without abandoning the Quranic learning which the Almajiris do.
Because the Kaduna State governor, when we spoke with him earlier in the week, he said that even in Kaduna State, they've gone to the point of criminalizing efforts in making Almajiri system work. That is, they're making laws to criminalize having children on the street. Are you going to that extent?
No, we haven't. Look, like I said earlier, these Almajiris are Nigerians. And for those of them who are Katsina State of origin have a right in Katsina State. So we are not criminalizing Almajiris. We are only criminalizing who is a criminal. And like I said, for us, we will arrive at the same situation with my colleagues, governors, with regards to the issue of Almajiri. But our approach may be different, but the goal and the objective will remain the same.
Indeed, do you think that is more of an emergency situation? Is it a major problem for you in Katsina State, Governor Masari?
No, I think the entire level of education is the one that is the biggest challenge, the one that is the biggest problem. And it is also not only Almajiri, but we are looking at the totality of the society, of people who are out of school. And the method of learning Quranic education is the one that has to be modified so that you come in tandem with other forms of Western or any form of education. We don't intend to criminalize anybody or any group or see them as different. Like I said, they are Nigerians and they have rights. And so we are going to treat them as human beings and give them all the protection that is necessary, and that is within the capacity of the government to do.
Before I get onto another issue, the issues of Almajiri, you said you have described the manner in which you are tackling it, and perhaps for some other governors, I believe that it's a major one, and also you said it's a major, but you're tackling it perhaps differently. But as it stands right now, do you have any structure on the ground to accommodate these children? Are they still on the streets of Katsina?
No. We don't have Almajiri on the street of Katsina. For a very long time, since we started the lockdown, when we locked the schools and the Islamia schools, and especially those Almajiris that are from Niger Republic, we took them back to Niger Republic. And those who are Almajiris in Katsina, we transfer them to where their parents are. So let them learn the Quranic education where their parents are. Where I think we have succeeded in removing no less than 80%. But however, the few that were remaining are remaining with some balance. Like I said, we have set up a committee. And this committee is going to come out within the next one week with the total number of Almajiris in Katsina State. Those who are indigents of Katsina State, or those who are from other states. And I assure you that we have sufficient accommodation. Even the one that were brought early this morning from Lafia, 204 of them. And now we also understand they are bringing additional 35. We are camping them in a school. We are feeding them 3 square meal, and we have taken medical examination of all of them. And until and unless we are satisfied, then we start sending them back to their parents, because we have addresses of their parents in the locality they come from. So I think we have sufficient accommodation, and we will provide health care for all Almajiris that are returned to Katsina before they are finally joined with their families.
Are you also of the opinion that the Almajiri issue is being politicized?
I don't understand. What did you say? Can you repeat yourself?
The governor of Kaduna State, Abdullahi Ganduje, says some leaders in the north and some governors are politicizing the issue of Almajiris. Are you of that opinion too, that that matter is being politicized?
Like I said, yes. It's not about politics. Like I said, they are Nigerians. So I think if we fail our responsibility as leaders to provide for what is basic, the basic necessity for attaining minimum education for a meaningful life. So I think we shouldn't make too much partisan politics or grandstanding on the issue. This issue is real, and it's for us to solve, it's for us to confront, and we can do it if we are determined. So I don't think we should make it a political. Let's say it is a problem, and a problem that we must solve, and a problem that we have the capacity to solve it if we are determined to solve it. In Katsina, we have taken the right steps, and in fact, we are going to have an authority similar to like we have a state primary education board. We are going to have a similar board that will directly, squarely address the method of this Quranic education. Because the Quranic education is a must for us. But the method and the procedure is what we are going to correct to make sure that it's in conformity with the basic standard, minimum standard required for anybody, for any child, because it is a right for the children to have education.
So you're sort of building a new system that will accommodate the Almajiri children. I said Kaduna State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. I meant to say Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. He was the one who was making reference to the fact that the Almajiri system is being politicized. But quickly, let me get this information before I go into your effort in fighting banditry and how it affects COVID-19. You shut down about 13 or so local governments. Are you planning, because of the spread of the coronavirus, are you planning to shut down the entire state or lock down the entire state?
I think with regards to interstate, the state is locked down. What we have chosen to do is to lock down local government by local government wherever we have a positive case. But even inter-local government visitation has been stopped, except when it is absolutely necessary. Everybody should remain in his local government. So far, we have 13 local government that are under complete lockdown. That means people stay at home. But in those local government that we have not so far recorded any positive case from that community, we allow the community to move, but not outside the local government, but within the local government.
So as we go forward now, there seems to be yet another issue on your hands that you're fighting. That is banditry. Is banditry more of a problem for you in Katsina State compared to COVID-19?
Well, you see, there are two problems. This one is global, is national, and is regional. When we are talking about COVID-19, and it has a multiplier effect, more dangerous than banditry. But for us, for the rural community, the effect of banditry is more and more serious than COVID-19. Let me tell you, within the last 14 days, here in Katsina, we have lost more than 100 lives. Not talking about the properties like cattle that have been rusted and the other animals. This evening, just around 6:30, I received 8 victims of kidnapping that were rescued. Just evening, they were kidnapped yesterday. Luckily enough, they were rescued today, and I received them around 6:30 in the evening. So for us in the 14 local government, the issue of banditry is a daily occurrence. It's not about, it's daily. It's something that has become daily. I appreciate the role, especially the military and the other security agencies they are playing in Katsina. But they are overstretched. Since they are overstretched, they have no numbers, they have no materials, no equipment. Facts must be facts. If we want to face these bandits who have over there amassed ammunition, AK-47, AK-49, even some are saying they have grenade launchers and rocket-propelled, so many kinds of information. But what we saw is that AK-47, AK-149 machine guns are very common. And really, like I said, they are overstretched. The armed forces in Nigeria, they are overstretched. We have to look beyond the box to come up with immediate and other solution, because really the bandits seem to be gaining ground in the western part of Nigeria, not only the state. But for the 14 local governments that are the frontline local government today, banditry is more dangerous, more serious to them than COVID-19.
You had, yesterday we understand that one person was killed in a bandit attack in Katsina State, and you have said that this is like a daily occurrence now. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, is from your state, Katsina State. Have you had this conversation with him? And why do you think that this issue of banditry lingers?
Look, when you say President Muhammadu Buhari is the president of Nigeria, he has as much responsibility in Oka, Ibom, Lagos, Borno, like Katsina. It's not that because he's from Katsina, Katsina should be treated differently. We have a general problem with regards to issue of banditry, insecurity, insurgency in Nigeria. So I don't appreciate localizing the problem as if it is a personal problem to the president because he's from Katsina. No.
You had a peace accord with some of these bandits, but some people are afraid that that might have fallen apart now.
No, it's not that the totality of the peace we have was collapsed, but we are dealing with those who are unrepentant. Some of them are highly mobile. They move from state to state. They even move from Niger Republic to Nigeria. They are highly mobile because they have over 500 motorcycles carrying 3 in 1. You know, they are highly mobile and they live in the forest. They know the train. They train in the forest better than even our security agencies. But that is not an excuse. It is our responsibility to provide, to secure lives and properties. So whatever it means, whatever it takes, whatever method we have to approach, the government must do it in order to save lives and properties.
Governor, before I allow you, because I know it's Ramadan, you need to get some rest. It's a bit of a concern. Katsina State, I know because of this banditry, there's been issues of the fear of food crises. But Katsina State has, by the MBS, an issue of poverty level at about over 70%. In the face of COVID-19, the face of banditry, are you concerned that some of your people, a large number of them, might go hungry?
No, I think, first of all, let me correct you. From the NBS figure, the level of poverty is 40 point something percent in Katsina State, not 70. That is the NBS, that is the result they released about I think last week. And with regards to really shortage, yes, of course, unless we move in very quickly to do two things. One, to secure the land where people, especially living within the borderline, local governments have access to their farms, and they farm at least between 80 to 90% full capacity. And again, the availability of fertilizer at this very difficult time for states and local government finances due to falling price of oil, due to lockdown, due to lack of economic activities. I think these two things must be in place for us to be able to have bumper harvest. We may have good rains, but if we don't plant, we cannot harvest.
Governor Aminu Masari, and also a former Speaker of the House of Reps, tonight speaking to us about his efforts in Katsina State in battling banditry, Almajiri system of life, and also COVID-19. Thank you indeed, Governor, for coming tonight on the program.
Thank you very much.